Howdy, my name is Larian, and this is Rimworld. We're back. This is Alpha 16. I had major computer problems, had to rebuild my machine 5 or 6 times. Not going to go into it too much. Anyway, problems were had with Alpha 14 toward the end there. I completely missed 15. Whatever. This is episode 0 of we are going to try another playthrough here, heavily modded. And I'm going to, for this episode, build a mod pack. Now, I have a large number of mods downloaded that I've subscribed to on Steam. And obviously there's still some old Alpha 14 mods in the list that I haven't removed. That's okay. We're not going to install those. It doesn't really matter. So, first off, Hugslib. Hugslib is the new CCL, so to speak. It's the core library that basically all the mods on the planet use if they use another mod. Or, sorry, another library. So, we load this right after core. It does the same sort of thing that CCL used to do. The next thing I also have installed by default is the mod list backup. This is a tool that I was actually threatening a couple of people that I was going to write, but somebody else wrote it for me, so I don't have to. It's wonderful. What it does is it allows you to save and restore your mod lists. It's great. And it lets you import them from an existing save, which is even better. So, first off, let's just go through the list of mods that I have and click the ones we want to play with and unclick the ones we don't. First of all, I'm not going to be installing any of Scully's mods. I'm not going to. So we're not going to add armor repair. We're not going to add reclaimed fabric because we have other alternatives to it. Actually, the DERMAL regenerator is interesting. Let's go ahead and include that. Because it'll fix scars. EPOE. Very, very important. This mod allows us to craft prostheses from the very beginning. Peg legs, hook hands, things like that, all the way up to bionic body parts. I really like it. I think it's well balanced and totally worth grabbing. So we're going to grab that. Let's see here next. Colony Manager is crucial. This right here is probably my absolute favorite mod that has been added. It adds Dwarf Fortress style management tasks to the game. So you have a bench that your guy goes and works at and designates whether or not, what people do. It's not the same as crafting hysteresis. It complements it very well. They both do different things and are both useful for different things, and we're going to use both. Okay, Medical tab, Work tab, and Animal tab are all 3 more UI tabs that Fluffy adds. Similarly, there's another one, if I can find it really quick before I go blind, the Wildlife tab. May as well do it in order. This is not, obviously, Fluffy's mod, but it adds a little UI tab that just gives you a quick list of all of the animals that are in the area. So sure, why not? Okay, so Jax's Embrasures mod is the one I like the most for this niche. It feels right. It feels the most balanced of the Embrasure options, and it looks good too. GLITTERTECH, the no surgery variety. GLITTERTECH adds a bunch of crazy high-tech stuff. It rebalances a few things, but it also adds the risk of mercenaries who are going to murder your face off. So I like it. There's a good toss-up of, yeah, it's a thing. It happens. Radis's fuses, I think, are crucial. It's a core mod. The short circuit incident that happens in the game where you will just, one of your, something will short out and all of your batteries discharge and it starts a fire in your base and it's awful and you need to do repairs and it's uncontrollable. There's nothing in the base game that you can do to mitigate that short of like manually toggling battery banks off and on with switches and things to separate them from the rest of the network. And I think that's a little ridiculous to have to do that. So adding fuses and then ultimately circuit breakers, which are high-tech, I think is really, really nice. Miscellaneous Core is Haplo's core mod. It doesn't add anything that I care about by itself, but it is required to use any of Actually, it may not be required for any of his stuff anymore. So we're going to ignore it for now, because I don't care about the colonist groups. And I don't really care about brain implants. I don't plan on doing brain surgery. If I'm in that situation, odds are very high things are going very badly for me. Haplo also has some robot mods, and I'm not going to be installing the robots because I'm just not going to. However, his training facilities are amazing. They're really, really nice. You can set up shooting ranges and punchy dojo things, and people will practice, and it'll train their combat skills and give them joy. It's really nice. Lada's doormat mod, I'm never gonna use. I love it conceptually. I've had a really brief exchange with the author previously on balancing the mod and how to make it work better. But you know what? I will deal with people running around and sweeping right now. Efficient light, I think yeah, it's criminal. Only 75. I thought lamps were 150. Maybe they did get fixed, but still, 75 watt bulb in the year 5500 is ridiculous, because I mean, my light bulbs right now that I use are 8-9 watts because science, and so 25 watt bulbs are reasonable. So yeah, where were we? More vanilla turrets. Okay, so this adds a couple more vanilla art style turrets that really work. The math works on them. It feels good. Plus, it also adds two other things. It adds moats, which is just a floor type that you can dig on dirt, basically. And it also adds little manned gun emplacements that a person can stand behind and shoot out. And I think the tech level on that is a little low. I think it should require more tech to get to it. But other than that, I think it's great, and I love it. Feed the Colonists gives you bulk crafting recipes for the basic food items, and I'm not going to do it because we're going to do other food options. Crash Landing is an alternate game start where your people fall out of the sky and stuff just keeps falling and falling and falling and falling. And yeah, I'm going to install it. Excuse me. I'm going to install the mod. I don't know whether I'm going to use it, but even if you don't use a Crash Landing start, you will still have Crash Land events throughout your colony's existence. And so it's great. Instead of just little gentle drop pods landing and giving you presents from the sky, you actually have fire along with it, and things can be damaged, and it's a huge mess, and I love it. More floors. Telkir's More Floors makes the floors less hideous, and we are going to say yes to that. However, expanded crops we are not going to use. The Smart Power Switch mod, I would love to be able to use it. I tried in my previous game. See, this doesn't require his core mod either. I think he's eliminated that requirement right now. But of all the power switch upgrades, this is the one I like the best. But I've not had a lot of good luck with it so far. And I want to be able to use... The real problem is that it's hard to tell things where to plug into. What I really want to do, hypothetical scenario, non-combat, is I want my my sun lamps in my hydroponics farm to be on a timer switch, but I don't want the beds to be on a timer switch. I want the beds to connect and be on permanent power, because if they lose power, the crops die. But the sun lamp is just bleeding energy overnight, and I could save some kilowatts by doing that, but I've never gotten it to work. It's harmless enough. I'll go ahead and install it right now. The Fi client we're not going to do, because we're not going to be doing multiplayer networked trading. We're not using Haplo's robots, so we don't need to be able to craft them. Okay, Mad Skills. There are 3 different versions of Radis's Mad Skills mod, which simply reduces the... Or it reduces, it totally nerfs the skill decay that you have for not using skills. In this case, This is the tiered version, which is the one I think is the most balanced, where it simply stops you from losing a ton of skill. It caps the loss. The others are, there's one that just turns it off entirely, and there's one that just halves the rate. So in this case, we still have the same skill decay rate, we just cap it, prevent it from going crazy. Not going to be installing Mars X, because installing this mod confuses things, at least the last time I checked. It's a pretty total conversion. I like it, but yeah. Prepare carefully. We're not going to prepare carefully. We are going to do it the hard way. Tech advancing. Yes. Because we're going to do a tribal start. We're not going to do a crash landing. We'll have crash landing happening. We are going to do a tribal, we're going to do a village. We're going to do a tribal village in a cold biome, and we are going to use, or actually we'll see what biome. But we're going to use tech advancing, because this allows you to actually progress through the tech tree. And, I mean, even though your people are like, you know, carrying plasma weaponry and things, it still considers you Neolithic, just because that's the way you started. Even though you have scientists working around the clock. This corrects that by, as you research bunches of tech, it levels you up. Where are we? Okay, medieval times. This is a total conversion mod that totally converts, well, it's not a total conversion, it's an expansion pack. It's a huge ton of stuff, and it sits between Neolithic and Industrial, and I love it so much. It adds so many things to the game. More furniture we're not going to add. It's largely cosmetic. It does add some things to make bedrooms better and a few things like that. It makes it easy to stick a table in a prison and things like that. But we're just going to make bigger rooms. Psychology we're going to add. This adds a ton of new traits, some new behaviors, some new events. It also adds things like, what's terrible? There's an awful, what's it called again? There's an anxiety mental condition you can have, which just basically devours medicine for the life of the pawn right now. I think eventually the goal of this mod is to have some sort of psychotherapy treatment that you can do to help correct some of these things. But in the meantime, yeah. Birds in the... Okay, so, where were we? Okay, Fashion Rimsta, we are going to add. This is a good, balanced clothing mod that doesn't add too much, but it adds some variety, which on top of the medieval mod is going to add a lot of clothing variety to the game without being overwhelming. And it also adds a lot of professional clothing. So I like that. So you can have a doctor in scrubs and a doctor mask will be better than a doctor just wearing his normal duster and cap, you know. P music, that's just background music. We're not going to worry about that. Birds and the bees. This basically just makes it to where you can neuter animals if you... no. Because I'll just sell the babies or butcher them. So no. Cave World Flora apparently has some really big performance debuffs. Otherwise, yeah, I'd be interested in doing it. Enlighten adds a buff when you're in the light and a debuff when you're in the dark. I'm gonna say no. Fish Industry is interesting. We're gonna install it. It's a little bit overpowered right now, in that you can get so much fish with so little effort if you're close to some water. But it lets you produce... It just gives one more source of protein in the game where you may not have them reliably, and I like that. It makes it feel better. Where were Haplos, or Telkiers, excuse me. Miscellaneous Stuff mod, we're not going to add. It just adds scrap walls and red... danger lights, basically. Hand me that brick. We will install. This adds hauling, or it lets haulers put things on blueprints, so you don't have to be a builder to do the hauling. This makes walls go up much faster and things, and I like that. Defensive positions lets you pre-program some locations to send your people to when you're under attack. And I'm not going to do this. I've had bad luck with it in the past. It's bitten me. And it's just because I haven't figured out how the mod works really well. But I'm not going to do it because it's given me problems, because I've failed to figure it out. Crafting hysteresis is important. This allows you to schedule a restart condition for tasks instead of just allowing, you know, you say, hey, keep me at 25 fine meals. That's great. Every time you drop to 24, it queues up the cook again. This way you can bulk perform those things, and that's great. Okay, vegetable garden. Vegetable Garden is a really big food mod, adds lots of things. At the high end of the game, it gets I think it is a little bit imbalanced, but you opt into using those features, so I feel fine about it. But it adds lots of tiers to the farming. It changes some things. It requires you to actually weave your cloth to be able to do it. Plus, it adds tacos. I mean, come on. The mod adds tacos to the game. And it adds them well. A lot of polenta. A lot of polenta-based stuff in the mod. Yeah. Where were we? Okay, yeah, there's the just straight-up disable things. Obviously, we're not going to use that. Trading spot. This just designates a spot for traders to stop at, and I'm not going to install it because I feel that way. Industrial Rollers is a conveyor belt system, and it is amazing. And I would love to be able to get my tribal start up to the point where they have conveyor belts delivering goods to their, you know, from their workshops and things. So I think that'll be fun. We'll have that. If we get to use it, great. If we don't, it doesn't hurt us too much. Bees and honey. I've only done very, very little with the honey mod, but so far it looks fun. It's a little tricky, and you have to research it to get to it, but it has a lot of potential. The barbed wire mod is just that. It adds barbed wire, which is you can build it out of steel, and it doesn't offer cover for people standing behind it, and it just slows them down. So it's really good for just for creating your kill zone. You put it in front of your turrets, in front of your embrasures or parapets that your people are hiding behind, shooting out of, and your enemies have to march slowly through it and get plinked off. And it's a good alternative and back and forth with the moats that you get with the other mod, turret mod. Step away from the medicine. This is one of Zorbo's mods that just gives you more control over default medicines. Look at me, I'm the worker now. Lets you force a job that without having to go through the chain and figure out who had the job already. That's really nice. I Can Fix It is another one of Zorbo's mods that allows you to, or well, it automatically, when a building gets destroyed by a bomb or by fire or something like that, it automatically replaces it. So that's really good for wiring and walls and things. Telgear's Expanded Cloth. We would use this if we didn't have Vegetable Garden, but Vegetable Garden already adds all of the sort of stuff that Expanded Cloth does, so we don't need to. Facial stuff just looks cool. I like this a lot more than I like a hair mod, so we're going to be using that for a cosmetic. It does not play nice with Prepare Carefully, I believe, so no big deal. Okay, so A Dog Said is the dog surgery mod. It lets you, well, you know, do animal prosthetics and stuff. But we're adding the no crafting mode because we are going to use the extended prosthetics patch to add it to the EPOE mod, or tables. Where were we? Okay, Rim Fridge. This is actually a really well-balanced 1 or 2 block machine that acts as a freezer, so you can stick a freezer in your kitchen or a freezer in your dining room and keep people from walking in and out of the fridge, and I really like it, and I think it's one of the best mods to come out in A16. Prison Extension allows you to play Prison Architect. It allows you to do multi-room prisons with security cameras and a few other things like that. Not going to be using that. Packified Animals allows you to take other animals than just buffalo and cows. Excuse me. It does add cows. Instead of buffalo, you know, it adds bears and elephants as usable pack animals, and we'll do that in the event that we do any caravan, because we're much more likely to have one of these than we are to have just buffalo, for instance. Where are we? Gourmet is a cooking mod that adds a handful of more recipes. One of the big things it does is it gets rid of simple meals and it splits them down into vegetarian and meativore versions. But it also adds some more interesting stuff to the cooking, and so we're going to use it. Set up camp. When you have people traveling, this lets you set up a camp, and we are definitely going to use that. Mod list is just, it dumps the mods out to a file. We're not going to worry about that. Haplo's map gen for factions. We're going to go ahead and install this because I would like to... One of my victory conditions, I think, is going to be, in this case, killing pirates. Because, yes, programmable vents we are not going to use because Reduced Heat is available, and we are going to use that. It doesn't have currently ducting yet, but it has good tiers of heating and cooling with research requirements for the top tier, and it has smart vents, and I really, really love it. Camping stuff I've never used, we're going to install it. This allows you to have tents and sleeping bags and things for when you camp, and I like that idea, especially if I'm going to be sending half of my colony out. Do I want to have a sari in this? And I think no, we're not going to add a sari. UV floor lamps. These are alternate lamps that can be used in hydroponics labs, and I'm going to install that. I don't know how it's going to work. Power Logic is a different sort of mod that allows you to make much more interesting decisions about how things work, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get into that. As I said, I barely included the power switch upgrade mod in the first place. Humanoid Alien Language Races is the library that mods like the Asari mod, like the Erasens mod, like the... Oh, there was another one that seems to be gaining a lot of ground recently. But anyways, this is for more races, and we're not going to be using that. Moody, we're going to install, because it gives us this cool little UI off in the corner here that we can sort and use, and it saves us a lot of time and a lot of looking up stuff. Path of Void. I'm going to install this because I've not played with it, but it should allow me to say, hey, nobody walk through this area, please. Everybody walk down the main hallway, stuff like that. I think it's just another zoning kind of layer. We're not going to be adding Dub's Skylight mod or his medkit mod because it adds some other non-medkit things. It adds like some hammers and tools and things, and I don't want to have it conflicting with the ones we get from other mods. A World Without Hat displays hats from the portraits, and that's all it does, and we're not going to be using the Mad Rabbits of Kerbanug because apparently there's a problem with the fish that the fishing mod adds. When they attack as Mad Rabbits events, it can be disastrous. Silly Builder Surgery is for robots. This allows you to use if you disable a mechanoid, you use surgeries for doctors. It changes the skill requirements. I'm never gonna disassemble a live mechanoid. I'm just gonna wind up destroying them if I do. Medieval Coal adds coal to the quarry. It also adds allows it to be burnt in some vanilla machines and in the medieval times wood burning things. It also adds chem fuel to the fuel generator. Not that I'm ever chem fuel, but I'm going to add it just because. The travel MREs, I think I'm going to do this just because this is travel food, and it will allow you to... I'm hoping it'll be okay. I'm hoping this will work out, and I'm going to use that specifically for the camping trips, because I want to segregate my food for the people who are going to be taking a trip. I want to get this done. We only have a couple more minutes. Fluffy's Breakdowns event mod changes the breakdown event that constantly saps your component stores with a maintenance event that you people have to go and do it. And so that's really, really nice. I like how that works out. Outfitter adds some better logic and options for people who can, gives them choices for what they do. So you can say your warden is a warden, and so they will prioritize things that give them speech skill, as opposed to just prioritizing for temperature or armor or something. And the hospitality mod gives us something to do with visitors, and it makes it's good for social interaction with other factions, and I love this, so we're definitely going to be trying this. We're not going to be doing Arasans because we're not doing other races. I'm really torn on this, and I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to go ahead and install Dubs' Hygiene mod. I've never played with it. Actually, this is probably pretty high-tech. Don't know if this is going to be complementary with Tribal. You know, we're not going to do it. I hate to not to. I hate not to do it, but I think I'm going to. So, that's that. And the high-tech lab facilities breaks apart the lab, the research stuff, and I'm not going to be doing that because, again, we're going to do a primitive start. And yes, so that is the mod list. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go here, I'm going to click on 3, and I'm going to... Actually, I'm going to rename the 3. I'm going to name the 3 into Tribal Let's Play. Don't know. And we are going to say backup. Poof. Now that one has that stuff. So I should be able to switch to that mod pack. But my name is Ilarian. Thank you for watching, for those of you who care. We are going to start right up in choosing our people in episode 1. If you click on the thingy wherever I click the thing to click on the thing. So I will see you later. Bye-bye.